Dolly Parton. Have a seat, kiddo.
Well, I believe I will. You smell nice.
Yeah.
Well, good. I put a quart of it on. I'm glad it worked.
Yeah,
You look nice, too.
Good, Dolly. Good.
Good. Well,
Yes.
you're looking good, as usual,
at a show
and you're precious. Thank
I was
you.
at a show last night, Smokey Joe's, that I talked about, and they said you were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
It was great,
Wasn't that
it?
fun?
Yeah. Last night I went to see How to Succeed in Business.
And they told me you were there,
And
too.
it was wonderful. So every time I come to town, I try
See all the shows?
I try to see as many as I can.
Yeah, sure.
Some of them are boring to me, but some of them are great. And
Now,
those two
all
happen
that
to be
rock and roll music, did that bring back memories for you?
in Smokey Joe's?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really took me back to many places.
Were you rocking with them,
Yeah,
too?
I was rocking with them. That was my time in my life. I started rock and roll. Of course, I was in the back seat rolling around while the car was rocking. Usually.
Good
Just
for
a
you.
joke.
Didn't want to get into those kinds of memories.
Oh, that's what you did, too. I know you.
Yeah, well, you were the fourth of 12 children,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you were like an extrovert, weren't you, Dolly? I mean, you worked in the class plays and all that.
Well, actually, we didn't have a whole lot of that in our little country schools, but I was always singing. And anytime I was allowed to sing anywhere, whether it be shopping mall openings or whatever, I would go anywhere, sing for anybody. I started singing on radio and television when I was 10 years old. Made my first record then for a man that owned a chain of supermarkets, and his show sponsored, his grocery store sponsored the show. So that's where I got my big start, and so I've been at it ever since.
Now, when you say country school, it wasn't one of these one-room schoolhouses, was it?
Yes, it was. When I first started to school, it's like those old stories that you hear from your grandparents and all. But we really did walk to school, and it was a one-room school that had the 1st through the 8th grade. But we were mountain people. You got to remember, at that time in my life, we lived way back in the mountains, and there were just a few houses and families scattered around. They had to come from all over the different mountains, and we just had the one little school, and
Now,
it was great.
Did you see that movie, Deliverance?
Absolutely.
Remember those two guys in the mountain men in there?
Yes,
Did
I
you
knew them.
She went to school with them.
Yeah, I went to school
They
with
sat
them.
next to her.
That's true. That's not far
But
from
did
being
they have
true.
mountain guys like that roaming around?
Well, yes, I think they have crazy people everywhere, but but we have a lot of mountain people. But it's not fair to say that all Southern people, all mountain people are like that. Those are just mean people. We get really beat up a lot in the South in the movies and portrayed in a lot of ways. But up in those hills, when people are protecting moonshine stills and people come out of their territory and they're trying to feed their families, even if they are just making whiskey doing it, you don't walk on what they consider sacred ground.
Absolutely.
So they're mean a lot of times just out of necessity or think they have to be. But yeah, there are some of those people.
So then here you are in this one room. This is really quite a story. Walking to school every day and one room, and then pursuing this singing career at that time. And how did you get your first guitar?
Well, actually, the very first instrument that I had of my own, I had rigged up myself out of an old mandolin I had found in the barn. Took some old pianos to an abandoned church house piano, kind of rigged that up because I just had this love for music. My people were very musical on my mom's side. But my uncle, Lewis Owens, one of my mother's brothers, saw how serious I was, and he gave me a tiny little Martin guitar, which was the greatest gift I ever had. And I was in love. That was my first love, was that guitar.
My gosh, you still have that?
Well, that's sad that you ask, because I had that guitar for all those years. I really kind of cut my teeth on a guitar neck or a guitar strings. But that guitar I saved, and it got beaten up through the years with the kids around and me playing it. And so I had put this, when I left home at 18, I put it up in our attic, up in the loft, with the plan of when I had enough money, I was going to have it totally restored and fixed. And just before I got where I could afford it, the loft in our house caught on fire, and it burned up. But I did save the neck of that guitar, so I did get to keep that. So that little neck of that guitar is still
Dolly's
precious
first
to me.
guitar.
But my band, one of the bands that I had many years later, found an almost identical little Martin and gave it to me as a Christmas gift
Oh, that's
once.
nice.
So that was great.
You've had quite a life, haven't you?
I've had a good life. I've been
really
blessed with a wonderful family, wonderful friends, wonderful help, and
But you worked hard
I've been
to
blessed.
get it.
You
She's written
going to write the book,
yeah.
another book,
I'll probably write another one later and really tell the truth in it.
When we come back, we're going to talk about Dollywood, celebrating its 10th anniversary.
I want to go
Down
to
here in Tennessee.
What a way to make a living, get
Dolly Parton, huh?
She's even more beautiful in person.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Really,
That's a nice thing.
You do your own hair?
Well, no, I have to call my hairdresser to see if I'm having a bad hair day. He's usually got my hair on his bed or on his lamp post. I call next door and say, is my hair ready yet?
Yeah.
But
sure.
actually, I can do my own hair. I've been teasing my hair since I was a little old thing. I started bleaching my hair. I was blonde, but it was a dishwater blonde. So as soon as I got enough money for peroxide, I started bleaching it, and so all those years
Right there
I
in
teased
the
it.
sink.
Back during the 50s, I was the one making everybody's hair bouffants and French twists and all that stuff in the 50s and 60s. So I can do it.
And speaking of the 50s, you're opening up in your theme park a 50s theme park.
Yes. We wanted to do something very special for the 10th anniversary, and everybody loves the 50s. And that was kind of when I started my music career and made my first record in 56. But this year we have a $7 million, 7-acre expansion, and it's called Jukebox Junction. And it's equipped, it's like a whole city, a whole village of nothing but 50s, with 50s food, 50s clothes, 50s cars, the old service station. I mean, we have everything that kind of is memories of my past, and places like we have the Kaz Walker store, you know, like a replica of that. Back in the 50s with the groceries, which actually you buy merchandise and all. We have the everything where, we have the parade that we're doing on Friday night. It's a whole 50s themes with all these wonderful cars from the 50s, and then for our shows the weekend to really have the 50s be right for our concerts that we do for the foundation, where all the money goes to the foundation. We have Chubby Checker, and we have Little Richard, we have Jerry Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins, and I'm going to open the show with like a 30-minute show with all the enclosed with my saddle Oxfords and poodle skirts. Of course, my saddle Oxfords have high heels. Shoes, I had a special made.
Yeah.
One question real quick. I have to ask, do you have curly Q fries?
Well, I'm sure that they will.
Yeah.
They're going to have
You gotta have
milkshakes and
those.
fries and burgers. We have all of that stuff. So
But
it's
you're
gonna be
right. You know,
wonderful.
everybody loves the 50s.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It
it
was
is.
a
It was
great
a
decade.
beautiful time too. The
Innocent,
clothes were
too,
cute, and you know the boys looked great, and the girls looked great.
Necking in the back seat.
Oh, well,
of the car.
yes.
We covered that.
Well, she was talking about when she was doing it. I'm telling you about mine. Oh, act like you didn't do it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Well, how boring your teenage years must have been. What were you doing?
Playing stickball?
Same thing.
Better get Dolly off soon. So this is the 10th anniversary coming up on April 22nd and 23rd,
21st
right?
is the parade on
Yeah.
Friday night. The 22nd at 9 a.m. we
Yeah.
open the big grand opening. Then on Sunday, so on Saturday we have Jerry Lee and Carl Perkins for the shows. 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock shows, and Little Richard.
All right. Dolly, it's always great having you here.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
that. We love you. We love you a lot. Thank you very much, babe.